Mate, it's good, mate. But how was it for you as captain at the weekend? Obviously, Saints, quality team, obviously gathering momentum. You know, we've had a few of the guys on the show before. Goodey speaks highly of Boydie being coached there. But how was it captaining, you know, a team that you've been at for so long?
Yeah, it was madness, really. I mean, it was never really something I expected. If you would have said a couple of years ago, I would have been captain in my childhood side. I would have told you were crazy. So, yeah, something that is a little bit unexpected. But, I mean, when you've got a team like that, and, I mean, most of us lads have known each other since we were 14, 15, playing with each other through the academy. So, it didn't, in all honesty, feel too different to a normal game, apart from doing the toss and making the calls on the pitch. My job was made easy, really, by the boys I had around me.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because obviously it's your club from being a youngster, and you've rose through to prominence really quickly, actually. And we've seen, we saw from your England debut. We spoke about it on the podcast last year. How much that meant to you emotionally. What I want to delve into is, as a captain, I always like hearing what people say in the huddle before you go out. So some captains rant and rave. Some captains, we both played under Martin Johnson. He didn't say too much, but my God, when he said something, you listened. What sort of captain were you? Were you clipping the backs around the ear? Were you trying to bang a few boys, or was it just calm heads?
No, just calm heads. I think a team like ours, we probably get a little bit too excited at times and overplay it at periods. So for us, I think we just spoke about being relaxed, going out and enjoying the occasion and giving it a good crack and backing ourselves in everything we do, really, because I think we're a confidence team at times. So I think the lads are confident. We tend to play well as well.
One of the tough things to talk about at the minute, but is a necessity for everyone to talk about and understand on the subject. Jim spoke to Courtney Laws the other day for Rugby Pass about it. And it's just to talk about the battle against racism in rugby and how rugby is behind kicking all that out of the game. What were the conversations like at Saints? I know a lot of your clubs have done different things around making their stance pretty clear. How was that for you as a player, as someone that's part of the England squad, and for the club itself?
Yeah, I think at Saints, these chats were really positive, and I think this whole Black Lives Matter thing, the real positive thing is everyone's talking about issues of race, and no one's afraid to sort of speak their mind in it, and we are having the conversation now. I think what we tried to do at Saints was we didn't want this to become a divisive thing, so every single member of that team said that we're 100% against racism, but the issue was that taking a knee and the Black Lives Matter movement sort of meant different things to a lot of different people. So the conversation was around how we can do our own thing against racism as a team together, and sort of have a one rule suits all sort of thing, and show unity as a side against racism, without sort of associating ourselves with the negative politics that comes with it at times.
Yeah, I think that was the thing. I mean, I did a really, really interesting chat with Courtney, and look, it's a difficult subject to talk about. Not the fact that racism in rugby and racism in life should exist. Like, that wasn't the thing that we were speaking about. It was trying to contextualise and listen to different stories from different clubs and how the players had gone about it. And that was a big thing, mate. We knew when I did the interview with Courtney, mate, it's gone mental, the interaction. Of course it has, but it's one of these things, right, that where, and again, the same I said to Courtney, you're stuttering and stammering around the conversation like I am, because you're trying to talk about these difficult subjects and these difficult matters, right? So when Prem Rugby, when it all came about, was a case of Prem Rugby saying to you guys, look, this is how we think you should deal with it? Or was it a case that players like yourself, players like Courtney within the squad and the leadership group, and everyone can have a voice in it, could get together and say, right, this is what we're going to do. We saw that Sale did it differently. We saw that Exeter stood. We saw that, Gloucester did it, took a knee and half. Was it a case that you all got together and it was like, I know you just mentioned it then, but different for different players within the team?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, within a team, there's individuals, and you've got to allow individuals to speak up about things that they want to, and other individuals not to. So the conversation was about, like I said, how we can do something as a team against racism that sort of suits all, and show that we are doing something. We are showing that it's not acceptable in society as well. And everything we got from Premiership Rugby was about you're going to have the opportunity to do something if you wish, and conversation about what we can do and what looks best for us as a team, and what's going to be the most use for us as a team and in society as well.
And just with that, you've made your way now into the England squad and you've worked ridiculously hard to get there. What was your pathway like through junior rugby? Have you seen any racism towards yourself, or have there been instances where you've had to pull people up? Has it been a smooth ride for you, or are there things that you've really stood up to over time?
Yeah, I mean, I've grown up experiencing it. I think most people of a background has just stuff that's said on the pitch at times. I mean, I came from a club where I was the only mixed race kid. There was no one else there, so immediately I probably looked different to other people. But I think my mindset was if someone wasn't going to insult me about my race, it was going to be about something else anyway. So yeah, I mean, it's tough growing up, but I think a lot of that is internal, because I think as a kid you do realise you're different, and who's to say if I was a different colour, I wouldn't feel different about something else. So yeah, something I experienced growing up, and something that needs to be cut out and people need to be educated on. I think hopefully young players are seeing that as a Premiership in whole, that we're showing that rugby, there is no place for it in rugby, and hopefully young players see that and they realise that, one, that it's not acceptable, and the kids that have experienced it can see that they're not alone in it either.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just going to say, Goodey, one of the real positives is that we're actually speaking about it now, and we're speaking about these uncomfortable situations, and we're dealing with it in the right manner. Goodey, do you want to piggyback that, or before I say?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, that's exactly what's needed for everyone now, to realise that there's no place in society, rugby or work or any walk of life, for racism. So it's brilliant that it's been aired and people are taking notice of it, and everyone's sharing their experience with it. So yeah, mate, well done.
Yeah, mate, absolutely. Let's carry on in the international vein. So Eddie Jones, right? There's a lot of talk around Eddie Jones. Well, there always is a lot of talk around Eddie Jones. Dylan's brought out a book, some kind of headline stuff's come out of that. I had a good chat with Courtney about it. But everyone's always interested in the mystique around Eddie Jones. I've actually really warmed to him, but I imagine the fact that he gave you your first cap, you've got quite a good relationship with him. How have the discussions gone over lockdown? Have there been any? I mean, is he happy with you? Is he looking for huge improvement? Is he pushing you? Like, how do you deal with him, and how's your relationship with him?
Yeah, really good. I think the thing about Eddie is he's so good at getting the best out of people, and for me, something that's got the best out of me. So Six Nations probably wasn't the most positive time in terms of, oh, here's a dog.
Hello.
I probably wasn't where I wanted to be in terms of selection and performances in the Six Nations setup. So I think before then, I probably thought that I was giving rugby my all and it was 100% all my attention. And for him to sort of say to me, well, I think you've got more in his way, was something that's pushed me on again, and something that I think's got the best out of me. And like I say, he's always someone that's trying to get the most out of people, and he knows how to push the right buttons to get more out of people. So yeah, for me, it's something that's been really positive for me, and he just knows how people tick, knows how people tick, and that's the thing for me.
And one of the big things that people have noticed, and I've seen it myself firsthand when I've watched a training session, it is brutally tough, isn't it, some of the training sessions? Do you young kids, now I'm looking at it as an old man that tried to avoid as much training as possible towards the back end of my career, do you boys relish that? Do you think, let's get right in amongst it? There's yourself, there's Curry, these guys that are just young, hard, lean, want to go smash people. Do you wake up every morning thinking, I want a piece of that?
Yeah, definitely. I think for me, it's like you have that I think it's a Wednesday session in the week is a pretty minging session, and when you go out on the weekend, you kind of, in the back of your head, you're thinking, God, I know these boys haven't trained as hard as we did on Wednesday, because it is that tough. So I think that the harder you train, the more confidence you can take into the weekend, and the harder those sessions are, the more confident you get again. So yeah, those sessions are tough, but when they're done and during, actually, there's such a buzz about the team, because you've grafted together, and you've grafted yourself, that you just can't believe that anyone else has worked harder than you in the week to pull out a performance at the weekend.